Boomer, shakalaka sooner. That's what the rest of the college football world is feeling as Brent Venables and staff continue to shake up the college football world and prove that you can indeed recruit to Oklahoma, although it was professed and declared by the supposed skittle-shitting football god out there called Lincoln Boy, old Lincoln Riley, said you can't recruit to Oklahoma, and yet he has continually out-recruited USC the last 3 and 4 years, and he's just now got another big-time recruit out of, guess where? The state of California. And I guess Brent Venables wasn't supposed to recruit outside the state of Oklahoma, according to that ass clown. You know, old Colin Coward. Let's talk about it. And those walls keep crumbling down. Those walls keep crumbling down. In the state of California, there's supposed to be this magical wall that was going to be built up by old Tebow, T-B-O-W. The acronym stands for the bitch out west. That being Lincoln Riley, old Linky boy, professed that nobody would be coming into Oklahoma and getting any high-profile recruits. And yet it continues to happen, not only from teams in California, but Oregon and Ohio stank, and now even the team that Lincoln Riley, like I said earlier, professed that you couldn't recruit to, Oklahoma, has now come in and took a 4-star quarterback in Jaden Oneal right out of their backyard down there close to Long Beach, California, which isn't too far from L.A., the home of the Skittle Shitters. But before we get to all that, and I'm also going to bring a guest in here today to back me up so the people who say that I'm a tainted Alabama fan that's biased towards Oklahoma, I'm going to bring a guest in here to sort of back me up. But before we get to all that, I'd like to give the 4 horsemen shout-outs. And they go to as follows. T. Boomer, Becca has thoughts. Trucking with Cliff and Tim Gillespie are mounted up and saddled up and ready to go. They're going to help us with today's college football invasion. Also, we had a nice little donation this week from old 56-timer. Appreciate the hell out of that, brother. Now, I can be reached on Twitter, a.k.a. X, a.k.a. the Bowels of Pluto, whatever they're going to call it next year, at OCF Productions. And if you want to get your badge and get deputized like those guys just did, as well as get that random 4 horseman shout out like they did, and possibly be the comment of the day when it comes later in the show, all you got to do is hit that join button. Next subscribe button is $2.99 a month. That's just 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the outlaw. And like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Those are the big 4 and Dan's commitment from 4-star quarterback Jaden Oneal. But before I read this little article, I'm going to bring in Jonathan Lewis because he done a podcast on this earlier. And him and a few other people sort of alerted me to this. Also had a contributor from Courtney Taylor and Brandon Dunn on this as well. So let's bring Jonathan Lewis in here real quick, and then I'll read this article to you guys, and then we'll get his reaction on it because I don't want people to think that I'm just grilling on Lincoln Riley just for the hell of it, even though I must admit I do enjoy it. So here he is. It's Sports with Jonathan Lewis. Has him a new silhouette and everything.
Yep.
Can't really see the neck beard on it because it's all black. But
I think I need to find a way to put that in there. I don't know.
How's it going, brother?
Good. Yeah. Another. So much for that Lincoln Riley wall.
Yeah, right. I'm going to bring this article up. I don't know if you can see it or not, but on Monday, 4-star quarterback Jaden Oneal announced his commitment to Oklahoma. He's listed at 6'3", 215 pounds. Oneal is rated the number 63 overall prospect and number 5 quarterback in the entire country, according to Rivals. The Narbonne, I don't know if I pronounced that right, the Narbonne High School, California standout chose the Sooners over Ohio State, Oregon, Auburn, Miami, Florida State, and many others. And by many others, I would imagine that's USC down at 33rd, right?
Yeah, they did offer him.
They can't even make the others votes. Like, you see people getting others votes on top 25 and shit. They set the expectations for what home felt like, Oneal said. That's something that continually keeps coming out of every recruit's mouth when it comes to Brent Venables and his staff. they're genuine, and they make people feel like they're at home, and like they care about them more than just what they can give them on the football field. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. And guys, that high school is in Arbor City. Arbor City is right by Los Angeles. It's not far. It's in Lincoln Riley's backyard, to be exact. If you look at it, if you go to the coast of LA and just drive about 20 minutes south, you're in Arbor City. That's the most surprising thing to me. I just had to point that out because, yeah, I can't. It just dumbfounds me.
I thought he was supposed to be building a wall, though. Wasn't that the statement he made that when he come to California that nobody would get recruits that were high-profile recruits? And this guy is a whole high-profile recruit, right? USC did want this guy, right?
Yes, this is 2 years in a row, though. Don't forget, he offered Marcus Harris last year, too, who ended up at Oklahoma. This is not the first one, by the way. Marcus Harris also went to Oklahoma last year at a Modern Day, which is a premier school that USC used to try to lock down. And now Modern Day has just become basically a lifeblood for now Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, because even it just shows you the state that the state of California is in. People in the state of California don't even want to stay there with all the crap that's going on there, especially in the political sense, which I won't delve into because it'll get me in trouble. But you got some good stats on this guy for me, maybe?
Yeah, so I did a lot of film take on this guy and wrote down a lot of notes, and I looked and read a lot of articles on 24/7 Sports, obviously Rivals, all of them. When it comes to rankings, I always use 24/7. People use Rivals. You can use whatever you want in this case. But Jaden Oneal, yeah, he's a class of 2026, 6'3". He's down to 200 pounds, by the way. He's leaning out. People would think that would be a worry going from 215 to 200. No, because his only defect, his only con, one of two cons, in my opinion, is he doesn't move around very well in the pocket. And why? Because he doesn't have very good mobility, and he attributes that to his weight. So he's already lost 15 pounds to help out the mobility and kind of make that more of a use on, rolling out of the pocket and running, right? Everybody now wants to become the Jalen Milroe, Deshaun Watson style players. So that's what's coming on to this. But yeah, out of Arbor City, like we said, man, one of the strongest, if not the strongest arm in the 2026 class. He's the best pure thrower out of the class. And I think when you look at what Brent Venables and the staff is attacking every year when it comes to quarterbacks, is they're looking for guys that can not just throw to one or two levels, right, of the system. We're talking about short, intermediate, and deep. They can throw to all levels. And this guy can do that all three accurately. Very mechanically sound. Some of my notes here, quick release, very accurate on all three levels. Rising up the boards, by the way, he's going to every single camp now. JPC, I want your take on this. Now, this guy goes to every single camp and consistently outplays everybody, right? I find that to be a huge positive. Why? Because a lot of these high-profile guys don't like going to camps because they don't want to be shown up by the guys that are supposed to be lesser than them, right? So a lot of these guys like Arch Manning don't go to camps. Arch Manning only went to one camp, and it was the Manning Academy, right? So, I mean, you think about that. Whereas this guy attends every camp just so he can show out and show people out. That should show you what type of competitor and what you're getting out of Jaden Oneal. So very accurate. And this is, to me, the biggest comp to Jaden Oneal right here. And if you're an Oklahoma fan, this has to get you excited. He does not lose accuracy when you get to the red zone. Most quarterbacks in tight windows on short fields become less accurate. Why? Because the defense, you can't throw over the top. You can't just throw it away, right, like you can on a longer field or just hope for a play. No, this guy is just as accurate and just as clutch in that short field than anywhere else. And in my opinion, one has one of the highest ceilings in the 2026 class when it comes to quarterbacks. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all my notes. My only other con would be he's got to get better pocket awareness. But once again, I think that attributes to him, like he just didn't move around very well. And now that he's leaned out, I think Oklahoma will get that fixed, obviously having that staff, and he's already working on it on himself. So, yeah, that's all my notes.
Well, you was asking me for my reaction to him going to the camps. To me, it should be a no-brainer for these kids out there that are not getting as recognized as you said they are. And the fact that, he's right now a 4-star. I mean, all I can do is help him, I guess. I mean, But I mean, I guess it could drop him to a 3-star if he comes out as not being as good as he's advertised. So that's probably why a lot of those guys don't go to those camps. Arch Manning was probably advised by his people, his relatives, not to do these camps and to only do their camp. That's probably why he did that, don't you think?
But yeah. But who do you want on your team? Who do you want to recruit? The guy that's willing to put himself out there and show that he can do what he's supposed to do, or the guy that's taking advisements on what he should and shouldn't be doing? I don't care how famous you are. I don't care who your dad, brother, sister, uncle is. When it comes down to making a legacy for yourself, people that are like podcasters on YouTube, the people that actually pay attention, not these ESPN talking heads, as you like to call them, and everything else, they're full of shit, right? So when you're talking about us that are actually paying attention to these things, we want to see these guys compete. And if you're not competing, we find that as a red flag. So,
well, one thing that you made a point of it early on in your assessment of this guy that you thought was a positive. I'm not too sure it is the dropping of the weight thing. I don't know if I'm too big of a fan of that, because I know it might increase his mobility now, but down the road he's going to need that weight in order to absorb some of the hits that he's going to take in the SEC. There's ways of keeping that weight and even gaining weight and keeping the mobility or gaining mobility through coaching and development. Shouldn't Brent Venables and his staff be able to keep him at that weight and maybe even increase his weight to 230 to get him ready for the rigors of taking hits in the SEC?
Well, you got to realize one thing. The kid's a sophomore coming into a junior. So his frame is not built out yet, right? So him losing weight, he's not losing muscle, he's losing fat. And I'm assuming the plan is going to be to lose the fat and build it back up into muscle, essentially like a rehab process. I mean, you see a lot of these guys going through. You've seen the biggest one, in my opinion, you saw in the NBA was Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan lost a lot of weight early in his career and rebuilt and kind of almost restructured himself. I feel like you're going to see him do the exact same thing, because Jackson Arnold's the opposite. Jackson Arnold is a stocky, big dude, but he's built up, right? So, and like you said, the SEC, you're going to go through those hits, but I think he's going to have more than 2 full years to build back up to that weight, but have it in muscle where you're actually working it out versus just having it on as fat.
So right now, basically what you're saying is, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but you're saying that he's losing the weight right now so he can showcase his abilities to be a mobile quarterback.
Yes.
And then later on, maybe add the weight back and have those better coaches that are adept at developing you with the weight, as opposed to the high school coaches who are not as adept.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Because, I mean, when you get to Oklahoma, you're going to have a nutritionist. You're going to have somebody that could tell you how to gain that weight, but gain that weight right with muscle, obviously stretching, things like that. It's going to help you on a consistent basis. So, yeah, that's what yes, you're exactly on it.
Yeah. Well, before I get out of here, I want to boomerang back. Boomerang. Boomerang sooner back to, I know you're not the biggest, you don't like smack talking as much as I do, but I just want to get your take real quick and maybe get a little dig in at all those Skittle shitters out there that are watching this, and just get your thoughts on why is it that, and is this really going to affect Lincoln Riley going forward as being the head coach at USC? I mean, he's not getting the recruits that he promised he was going to get. I mean, what is your take on him basically making that asinine comment, and even Colin Coward saying that Oklahoma couldn't recruit out of the state of Oklahoma?
We already know one thing is a fact. Everybody that said you can't recruit Oklahoma, that's already been null and void. Brent Venables has proven you could recruit to Oklahoma. Not only can you recruit to Oklahoma, you recruit from a state where that coach went to and is getting the better players from that state, right? And we're talking not obviously their class isn't loaded with California players, obviously. But I think it's stupid to think that you can't recruit to a place like Oklahoma. Eventually, you'll see Nebraska, I'm sure, come back up. Alabama, Ohio State, places like that, Clemson now. Like, you're going to see those guys recruit well on a consistent basis. And USC should be recruiting and getting the better end of California. What does Alabama do? Alabama's great at locking down the best players in Alabama. If they don't go to Alabama, where do they go? They go to Auburn. They stay in-state for the most part, about 99% of them. It's asinine. And then, yes, it's going to affect Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley went to USC to win national championships. And right now, USC fans, USC podcasters are jumping up and down going, why is Mario Cristobal going to have a breakout year in the media, but they're saying that Lincoln Riley's on the hot seat. It's because Lincoln Riley was given a $20 million home or whatever with a $100 million contract, almost fully guaranteed, if not fully guaranteed. Like, the expectations were not to win the division or the conference or go into a playoff. It's to win the playoff, not in year 10, in year 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're supposed to be competing right away. You're not supposed to be going from 10-3 to 7-5 or whatever the hell, whatever it is, 8-5 if you count the bowl game. But we get the point. Like, you're supposed to be competing for championships, not competing for your division.
Well,
Plain
man,
and simple.
It wasn't like he had a lot of players graduate either. He had the returning Heisman Trophy winner and went 7-5. That's just unheard of. And then not only is he getting out recruited in his state, but that guy that we just talked about, Jaden Oneal, is from his backyard, man. That's not even got anything to do with the state. He can't even control the media and the local high schools around Los Angeles.
Well, okay, look, losing players is no longer an excuse. The transfer portal was supposedly owned by him, right? He owned the transfer portal, and it doesn't matter. You're not given $150 million to give excuses on why you can't do something. Was Nick Saban, how often was Nick Saban grilled when we didn't win the national championship? And we're breaking in a new quarterback or this. Nobody cares. Nobody.
The audio went out, brother.
Sorry, I had to mute mine. Nobody cares you're breaking in a new quarterback or a new running back or whatever the hell it may be, or a new staff member, right? Alex Grinch. People told you what the flaws were. You refused to move off the flaws, so you get no pass for having a 7-5 season. And if you go 7-5 again, I think you got to start considering the fact that Lincoln Riley shouldn't be at USC, period.
Exactly. And I just wanted to bring you in here because you usually call stuff down the middle, and you're not going to smack talk someone unless they really deserve it. I'll smack talk them anyway.
Yeah.
But I guess that's all I got today, unless you got something else.
No, I think I'm just tired of hearing the USC fans cry about this, about Lincoln Riley gets a pass on this, or Caleb Williams that, or no, you had Jordan Addison come in, like you said. You had Caleb Williams come over. You had supposedly the best wide receiver core, the best quarterback, right? Supposedly one of the best offensive core, wide receiver cores, Zachariah Branch. All these guys supposedly going to kill it, and you go 7-5. There's no excuse. When is the last time? When did Saban, outside his first year at Alabama, go 7-5, or 8-4, or 9-3?
It never happened again.
There you go.
And he won 6 national championships. So
I could have gave Lincoln Riley 1 year.
If he had just won 2 or 3 national championships, we would have probably been happy. But the guy, it was a perfect storm for Alabama anyway.
Yeah.
But that's another topic for another day. Can you tell them where you can be located and where they can watch your video that you've done? You've done actually a pretty good job today on that video.
Yeah, my Sports with Jonathan Lewis. I'm not as entertaining as JPC here. I'm more analytical and statistical and stuff like that. I love doing research on these guys. I do a lot of recruiting videos and stuff like that, but anything college football. And I give stuff outside of college football too, like my take on Caitlin Clark and all that bull crap. So, but yeah, Sports with Jonathan Lewis.
All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on and giving me your time and giving me your thoughts on this new recruit for Oklahoma and the fact that Lincoln Riley is a freaking liar.
Yeah, you can't recruit Oklahoma. That was one of the dumbest things he's ever said.
All right, brother. Yeah. Take care.
Have a good day and roll tide.
Now, before y'all get out of here, if you want to make a one-time donation to the program, there's a little heart option down here with the money dollar sign in the middle. You can smash that, throw a few dollars in the coffers like old 56-timer did. Help keep the lights on. Also, you can join the Outlaw Posse and get your badge, get deputized, get the random 4 horsemen shout out as well. It's possibly be the comment of the day. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Subscriptions are most important. Sharing is caring as well. Gets this party crunk, gets it bigger and bigger every day. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.